We got that audio locked in, ready to roll.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy. I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
So everyone knows this is a Green Bay Packers podcast, but there were some things that happened this past weekend that I cannot personally let go. I'll call them blatant miscarriages of justice, putting it lightly.
I had a small, polite woman that I know from work come up to me and say, and I can't say that I've heard her cuss. I can't remember her cussing anytime. But she came up to me and she said, "Did you see the games this weekend?" And I said, "Of course." And she said, "The Saints got fucked." And I looked at her. And of course I agreed. I mean, I said those words, "the Saints got fucked," so many times that I think my wife thought that were the only words I could say. But when I saw a polite, decent human say this to me, that's when I knew.
We are not polite, decent humans.
Definitely. I don't know that I would say that I am.
The first words out of my mouth were, "That's fucked up."
So if you don't know the play, Drew Brees is throwing to the 5-yard line, and his wide receiver gets basically crushed with the head-to-head tackle by the defensive back there before...
Like fallout from the play even. After he got hit, his body did I don't want to say violent, but did enough of a turn where you were like, man, that was a big hit. And don't you think that would be enough for the refs to be like, maybe I should think about throwing a flag here?
They were so loose with flags all season, and I've already been on the record saying that they were very loose against the Green Bay Packers, but the one call, literally the one call they needed to make that entire game, they blew it. Seriously, if you look at that, it is a helmet-to-helmet collision, and it is big. I would not wish that tackle, that basically blindsided tackle, on anybody.
To be fair, the NFL knows they screwed up because there was a phone call between Sean Payton and the NFL where the NFL said, "Oops, we missed the pass interference. We missed the helmet-to-helmet. We're sorry." But what does "we're sorry" do for anybody who wanted to go to the Super Bowl? I can't think of a word to do it justice. This travesty.
It was egregious.
It was egregious. And so I'm reading some of the fallout from this, and obviously some other NFL players have some things to say about it. The one I thought had it right was J.J. Watt, who, go Badgers. J.J. Watt says there has to be some kind of accountability. Who is going to be accountable for this? And I totally agree. When has the NFL officiating staff ever taken real, true responsibility for something like this other than saying, "Oops"? Where's the accountability for this? Is someone getting fired? Are we making rule changes? Whose head is going to be on a stick that I can parade around the town?
I know we talked about this briefly, but I want to bring up Mr. Frank D'Amico Jr. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. New Orleans-based attorney who has filed a lawsuit asking the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell to force a replay of the game, picking up from where the missed pass interference calling on the commissioner's ability to use a special rule where he can...
It's not a special rule. It's a rule. It's just in the rule book. It's just there.
Fine. It's just a rule. You're right. It's written on the same black text as everything else. But it gives the commissioner the power to act should he see an extraordinarily unfair action that has a major effect on the result of the game. Now, I don't know that I want to see a replay per se because it's setting, I think, a bad precedent, but it's interesting.
And I think logistically it's impossible. If that rule is to be enforced, Goodell needed to be on it and say 36 seconds after it happened, no, do that shit over again. Or even an hour later, hey, no, get off the bus, get your ass back here, go do it again. Goodell is the biggest wet noodle of a commissioner in any sporting league ever. He's not going to do that.
I agree. He's been pretty limp about everything. Never erect and poised for action.
Logistically, trying to replay that game doesn't make sense. But I do appreciate the sentiment of, listen, you guys screwed up. You won't take accountability for it, so I'm going to legally make you take accountability for it.
I'm quoting Bleacher Report. Who wrote this? Tim Daniels. He's got this excellent quote from @Darren Rovell. Darren Rovell of the Action Network provided further details about the lawsuit filed on behalf of the Saints ticket holders. Damages in Saints ticket holder lawsuit against Roger Goodell and the NFL include mental anguish and emotional trauma, loss of faith in the NFL. This is the best one. Loss of enjoyment of life. Loss of entertainment. And this last one, I think, is really the true one here, because all those other things are a little bit beyond what I think you can sue Roger Goodell and the NFL over. But the last one here is really the one that I think is the true damage: distrust of the game. I think that sums it up. I remember being at the Redskins game. After every play, you were like, all right, let's count to 20 before we celebrate or have anguish over the play.
My new rule.
What's that?
My 3-second rule. After every major impact play, you wait for 3 seconds before you get excited one way or the other, because there's a 85% chance a flag is going to be thrown.
What I'm saying is, in this case, after all of this season, kind of too many flags, not enough flags, there is a general distrust of the game. I think I distrust the game more than any other time ever. This was the most egregious call that I can remember in modern sports history. So there's no second chance. It's horrible. It's a horrible call.
Distrust, I absolutely agree with distrust. Let's just take the state of the rules as they are right now. Just leave them as they are. Okay. I can use that as a baseline going forward as long as it is consistently applied. Every team, every player, situation, consistently applied.
That would be a huge improvement. I'd have to agree. I think that would definitely fight this distrust of the game. They have to even this out. There's been some strong pushes and then relaxing and then a lot of feeling it out. And it's just got to be decisive and consistent. That's what we have to have.
The NFL is losing viewership, that's a fact. And to me, it's no longer over Colin Kaepernick's stance and taking knees. At this point, viewership is lost because the NFL is putting out a shitty product. That's what it's turning into. It's turning into a shitty product.
It is. I mean, it's...
And don't get me wrong. I'm going to continue to watch the shitty product because I love the shitty product. I don't care how shitty the product gets. I'm still going to watch it. The game has changed so much even in my lifetime from when I played football. There's been a handful of games, and even at the game we went to in Washington, how many times did I say that this game is becoming unwatchable?
Well, you know how you are. Once you say something once, you say it until I am fatigued of counting. So I could only estimate that the number is probably something in the realm of 34,000 times during that game.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And in subsequent calls, I would add an additional 778,000 if I were just rounding.
Let's just bump it up and say about 1 million overall.
I would say about 1 million times with only mild exaggeration. So we want to switch over.
The point is...
Go ahead. What's the point?
With something so blatantly obvious as not only that pass interference, but the helmet-to-helmet contact, which the NFL is making a point of emphasis on player safety. When both of those things are missed on the same play, someone needs to be held accountable.
So obviously this is during the 2-minute review period, but what do you think about having a way to challenge no calls, to say that the call on the field was incorrect?
I think that instant replay was one of the best and worst things that ever happened to the game, because when we start talking about trying to challenge something that wasn't called, we're getting really hairy really quick. So I don't think that's the answer, but I do think there are some answers in terms of... Oh, by the way, to start, all reviews should happen in New York, where you've got a bunch of dudes staring at a bunch of TVs instead of one guy staring at like a 4x4 screen inside of a little ass.
It's got like the stadium TV that you buy at Sam's Club circa 1998.
It's got the big ass antenna on it. It's always broken, so you try to fix it with tinfoil.
Yeah, exactly. It's only in black and white.
He's looking at that through a tube that's about 10 feet long. So first things first, all replays need to happen in New York, regardless of what time in the game it happens.
I think they do get consult on some of them, especially for the playoffs.
I can't comment on that one way or the other because I don't know. But I think every roughing the passer needs to be reviewed because, as we saw in the Patriots-Chiefs game where Tom Brady got brushed on his head.
Oh, yeah.
And they called that 15 yards.
I'm not even sure that it touched his head, actually.
The spirit right now is if you think you see it, throw it.
Right.
But with penalties, you can't correct that.
I mean, they do have the ability to pick up a flag, but it's very uncommon. They did pick up one flag during the game.
I don't remember. But I just don't know... If we're going to start challenging non-calls, I think we get down such a deep rabbit hole that we can't get out of it. The amount of things that they do get correct is huge, and the amount of things they miss egregiously like this are usually so minuscule in the context of this game that goes so fast. It's so bang, bang. I don't know. I don't have the answer for you.
I don't know either.
Maybe even just personal foul type penalties reviewed in New York. In college, if there's a targeting call, that is an immediate ejection for the player, so that call is reviewed every time. Why are we not doing this in the NFL?
I think that's a good standard. People have called that new call the Aaron Rodgers rule. I was mad when he got hurt, obviously, but I think we brought that in kind of in a big rush. I'm not exactly sure why it was rushed, and I think it has gotten just a little unwieldy, and I think adding that kind of extra due diligence to the process is critical. It's important.
I get frustrated because I think about college football. There's no drama in college football about this stuff. There's none. How often do you hear about these egregious officiating errors in college? Never. And there's substantially more college games than professional games. It's extremely disappointing when the penalties are deciding the outcomes of the games rather than the plays deciding the outcome of the game.
Speaking of which, I just want to put this in. The Chiefs-Patriots game. Now, to me, it looked like a right call.
D Ford was offsides.
That's your official stance. After arguing during the agenda setup meeting,
yes.
Your official stance is Jeezy was right.
That's exactly right, yes. You were right.
You need to say that more often, I think.
No further comments.
Anyway, all I'm saying is it's so critical that they get it right. If they miss the call, it forces the Patriots into a loss. So it changes the outcome of the game completely.
The unfortunate part about that call is that it happened in the game subsequent to the Saints game where we already had one call where we were like, are you kidding me? And then it happens again.
There was so many F-bombs in the Jeezy household. Mrs. Jeezy dropping an F-bomb. It was ridiculous.
I heard one of the cats say, fuck this.
Which one was it, Mike?
Of course it was.
Yeah, Mike's got a little bit of a potty mouth. Oh, sorry, a litter box mouth.
Again, this is a Packers podcast. We couldn't in good faith let these grievances we have go by without commenting on them.
So you wanted to talk a little bit about the new Packers director of operations. You want to fill us in on that?
New director of football operations, Milt Hendrickson, spent his first 14 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens in their personnel department. We tried to get him into Green Bay last year because he's pretty good friends with our GM, but the Ravens denied the request to interview or leave or whatever else. So he waited for his contract to expire, and now he's come over to Green Bay. I don't know that we had a director of football operations last year. Previously, it was Elliott Wolf.
I just want to comment here. Nobody from Green Bay is just going to show up in Baltimore. I don't know if you've ever been to Baltimore, but that's not a place you just show up one day trying to, oh, have you seen Mr. Hendrickson? You don't want to go around Baltimore looking for somebody because people will find you and not the people you're looking for. When the Ravens said, hey, we're not going to let you come on the grounds and interview this guy, nobody's flying out there and saying, hey, I'll meet you at Denny's. We'll have a little talk or something. Nobody's doing that. Because you end up in the wrong side of Baltimore. I'm telling you, man.
Can you just imagine them going to Denny's and saying like, hi, yes, I'd like whatever with a side of fries. And when the plate comes out, instead of a side of fries, it's a side of bullets. And they go, I didn't order a side of bullets. I ordered a side of fries. Oh, sorry, sir. We'll get you something different.
Look, I'm not a drug user of any kind, never have been. That's the only place I know how to easily identify who's selling drugs. Because somebody who was a heavy drug user, unsolicited, I didn't solicit it. They came up to me and told me how to identify them. Where does that happen? Where does that happen?
Baltimore.
That happens in Baltimore. You know, when you're just trying to live your life, somebody says, hey, man, I don't know if you know how to get that good hookup, but here's how you do it in Baltimore. So anyway, we could proceed with Milt Hendrickson, but I just wanted to go in there and say nobody was just trying to show up without having a reservation at Baltimore Ravens Stadium, whatever it's called.
Land O'Lakes Butter Stadium.
No, it's not Land O'Lakes.
I know it's not. I'm being an ass. Hendrickson and Gutekunst also were both assistant coaches at UW La Crosse, so that's how they got to be good buddies, I guess. And he
Viva Wisconsin.
I don't particularly know what the director of football operation does, but that's really the only Packers-specific news that's gone on this week.
Maybe for next week we'll learn what that position does and we'll bring that back to you. All you listeners out there in podcast land, we're going to find out what this is. We're going to do a deep dive, a.k.a. look at Wikipedia.
For all four of you.
So why don't we talk about the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl? Pro Bowl coming up this weekend.
I wish the Pro Bowl mattered. I really do. If your team is good and you're in the playoffs and stuff, you're probably not going to see your players you want to see playing because they're either just got done and they don't want to get hurt, or they're about to keep playing and they don't want to get hurt. And it doesn't matter. It's a joke. It doesn't mean anything. There's no advantage for the NFC to win or the AFC to win because it's just a game In baseball, the outcome of the All-Star game determines who gets home field advantage in the World Series. Just do that. Granted, the Super Bowl is played at a neutral field, but if nothing else, if the NFC wins, cool. The NFC team gets to wear the home jerseys at the Super Bowl. There's no incentive for the players to do anything, and no one's running routes. No one's really blocking.
I think it's kind of fun to watch all the little events, football players playing dodgeball, and you're like, oh man, that dude could really blast that thing. And you see the dudes running through those faux brick walls, and you're like, oh man, that dude could run through a real brick wall if you just gave him enough padding. I think that part of it's fun. The Pro Bowl itself, I can't remember the last time I actually watched it.
You know what the coolest thing I ever saw in the Pro Bowl was?
What's that?
Those 2 or 3 weird years where they started drafting teams, which on the record was a bad idea.
Okay. All right. I wanted to know what your stance was, but yes. Bad idea.
It was a horrible idea to somehow pick Chris Carter and Michael Irvin. Like, hey, you two guys that used to be receivers, go ahead and just pick some teams for the Pro Bowl. Like, fucking what? But the coolest thing in the Pro Bowl I ever saw was Jordy Nelson catches a touchdown pass. Clay Matthews, who was on defense at the time, goes over and celebrates with him. How cool is that, right? 2 players on the same team playing opposite sides of the ball during the Pro Bowl. One guy scores, the other guy's like, hell yeah, man. High five. That was the only cool thing to ever happen in the Pro Bowl ever.
There are 6 people we know that were selected for the Pro Bowl who will be missing it. 4 from L.A. Aaron Donald, I think, well-deserved. Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, well-deserved also, but had a horrible game this past weekend.
He barely touched the ball. He was out for most of the game. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
I didn't know. It might have been a health thing. I was like, did he twist his ankle? Did he hurt his fingy? Did he have a headache? I wasn't sure. I couldn't figure it out.
Maybe he had a rumbly tummy and wasn't sure if he had to shit or not.
The whole game. It's like, Coach, I don't know. I had a Big Mac and the secret sauce didn't seem quite right, and my tummy feels just so rumbly. I'll let you know if I can go.
If I go out there, if I run too hard and move the wrong way, I might shit my pants a little bit. Everyone's going to see a dookie stain in my pants. I can't. It's just so everybody out there knows, we have the maturity of like 6.5-year-olds.
I'm at least 1 times that mature. Anyways, the New England Patriot, just old Tom Brady and Stephen Gilmore. I don't want to say I'm a Patriots hater, but
I am.
I will be cheering against them. Also, the Rams are pretty tight.
The Rams' home uniforms with that blue and yellow, those uniforms are slick.
They are slick. I agree.
They look super nice, just saying.
I might peek in just to see how Devontae Adams and Rodgers do during the Pro Bowl. I like to see how they're doing.
Rodgers isn't playing again.
He's not playing?
No.
He said?
He never plays anymore. Now the NFC quarterbacks, to me, when I saw who's actually going to be there, I laughed a little bit. It's Russell Wilson.
He had a great year, though. He really did.
It's Dak Prescott.
What the fuck?
And Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky's a... What? Really? That's it?
The 3 quarterbacks that got in, Drew Brees.
Right.
Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Aaron could have played, but he's always like, I don't, Which I wish he would. I wish he would.
Old and crotchety.
I feel like as a player, it's almost like your obligation to go, unless you're playing in the Super Bowl or you're injured.
Right. Throw a couple plays. Give the kids a thrill. Why not?
I think it's 2-hand touch on the quarterbacks anyway, so they can't get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, he could play the whole game with his stupid Bose headphones like in that Bears Stadium commercial. He could be that guy.
Can I tell you how angry I get every time we are not doing well as a team and our offense is lacking and they put up a commercial with Aaron Rodgers doing a State Farm commercial or like a Bose headphones commercial? Because every time I go, maybe if you would fucking practice instead of shooting commercials...
Well, I think we've pretty much covered the Pro Bowl. I think we've also covered Van's anger management session for the week. And do we want to talk more about the Super Bowl?
I was just going to say that, interestingly...
Yeah.
This is a super cool fact that I found.
Do it.
The last time the Rams and Patriots met in the Super Bowl, it was 2002, which was the start of this whole Tom Brady bullshit dynasty. Sean McVay, the current Rams head coach, was a week away from turning 16 years old.
I remember being 15, being a week from turning 16. It's not the greatest time. That's also about the same time I met you, which turns out you're the love of my life. What else could I do? But
Sean McVay was practically still shitting in diapers when Tom Brady won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you're not far off on that.
He was still rocking them Lunchables with the Capri Sun Pacific coolers.
Respect the pouch, Van. Respect the pouch. The Pacific Cooler's the best one.
Well, that's obvious.
I mean, he's out in LA right on the Pacific Ocean. He should be drinking Pacific Coolers.
Isn't that what Capri Sun's made out of?
The Pacific Ocean?
Isn't that where they get the Pacific Cooler from?
No comment. 17 years ago, they meet up. I was reading about this. Kurt Warner goes in there. They're calling it the greatest show on turf, that St. Louis Rams. They got Kurt Warner. They got... Who's that running back who was there at the time?
Marshall Faulk.
Yes. Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk is there. Their team is awesome. And the Patriots show up. They've got this young kid, Tom Brady, who's only in there because Drew Bledsoe, if you could remember that dude.
Of course I do. We smoked him in Super Bowl 31, player.
Yeah.
Reggie White got his ass 3 times.
It's crazy that they're even in there, that the game is even close. And they go in there and they pretty well handle him. They had the lead for the majority of the game. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I just don't care about the Patriots. I take it back. I do care very negatively about the Patriots.
So you would say you're a hater?
Absolutely. You know what? It wouldn't even be as bad if Tom Brady wasn't such an insufferable asshole.
Yeah. Do you think if he wins this week, and let's not dwell on this, we should move to the next thing, but if he wins, do you think he finally retires?
No.
You think he goes? He just keeps going?
Yes.
Because
he's an insufferable asshole, and he's a poor loser and a sore winner, and I want to play till I'm 45. Well, fucking, then just do it, and you better stick true to your asshole words, and when you're 45, you're out the fucking door. Get out. Sick of you.
What if when he turns 45, he's like, I'm going to play until I'm 60.
I would be fucking livid. And the worst part is, that dude could play from a fucking wheelchair, and Bill Belichick would be like, it's fine. I'll find some players that can do different things. It's fine. The Patriots organization would be like, yeah, no, it's cool. You can keep playing from a wheelchair. We'll take care of it. And it would totally fucking work.
To be safe enough, they have to get him an inflatable wheelchair because you don't want people getting hurt tackling him.
But they would do it. They would do it. And the NFL would be like, yeah, no, it's cool. You can go ahead and do that. We can't discriminate against people in wheelchairs. We can't do that. Of course you can play. Come on. It's safer to play that way. Come on, get on the field.
He'll just take it from basically the long snapper at all times. They just keep the long snapper in all plays.
Yeah.
That's going to be tight. Everybody mark these words down.
It is January 24th, 2019, approximately 7:52 p.m. Go ahead.
The prophecy has been laid. The oracle has cast bones, and we will see if in 2037, if we're still alive, that Tom Brady is in a wheelchair accepting snaps from the long punter every down.
The long snapper on punts every down.
Oh, sorry. Long snapper.
Still winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, man, I'd be so mad.
I don't know what I would do. I don't want to think about it. I want to move on.
I've been waiting for you to make your little Gossip Girl sound effect that you made.
Am I still doing that now?
Yeah, you're doing that, of course. It's Gossip.
Gossip Girl.
So this is Van's article. He's going to tell you all about it. He's very proud.
I don't know about proud, but I feel bad for the dude because it's even worse when it's a retired player. This article starts and it says, former Dallas Cowboys player arrested after falling asleep in a Whataburger drive-thru. Darren McFadden apparently was intoxicated, driving while intoxicated, which the Gettin Cheezy podcast does not condone.
Even if you live in Wisconsin.
Still don't do it. It's not cool.
Don't do it.
He was at the Whataburger in McKinney, Texas, and just decided it was time for a nap, so he couldn't get his food. No one else behind him could either.
My favorite quote from this article you pulled by Amy McCarthy is, while there's no disputing the appeal of late-night drunken Whataburger, McFadden's case is yet further proof that it's essential to have a designated driver behind the wheel.
That's right. Always have a designated driver. Don't be like Darren McFadden passing out drunk in a Whataburger drive-thru so that people behind him couldn't get their food.
Agreed. It's a double party foul. Drunk driving plus blocking the fast food drive-thru, double party foul.
That's not cool.
All right, so out of the gossip section, peace, Darren McFadden. May you always have burgers and not have to drive drunk.
He's not dead.
I know he's not dead, but why didn't he just... I mean, seriously, why didn't he call an Uber or something? I mean, if you're Darren McFadden, you could get an Uber driver to drive you to a Whataburger, get you a burger, take you home.
Granted, he's retired now, but I'm pretty sure, like, if you're an NFL player, the team does that for you. You don't have to pay for it. The team just does it because shit happens. Like, this is my favorite sports injury of all time, and I don't know if I'm 100% telling it factually, but I've said it enough times that it's factual in my head.
All right, it's probably a lie. Continue.
Yeah.
It's a fabrication.
Nate Burleson, wide receiver for the Lions at the time.
Oh, yeah, okay. What are you looking up? Don't look it up. Just spew it.
Nate Burleson. This dude broke his arm, not during a football game. He broke his arm when he was driving a pizza home, and the pizza fell off the seat. And he tried to save it, and he crashed his car.
I remember that.
It's my favorite non-sports injury to happen to a football player. It's my favorite.
Sorry, Nate Burleson. We're not happy that you got hurt. Let us disclaim that. But since you didn't die, and it ended up just being like a fairly minor injury,
I just looked this up because I wanted to make sure that I haven't been lying to myself all these years. And if I would have found something contrary to this, I would have ignored it so I can continue to convince myself of the lie. But I actually found this article on NFL.com. He broke his arm in 2 places.
Whoa.
Are you looking it up right now? Did you see this?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not seeing it right now.
Dude, look it up. They refer to it as, quote, the pizza incident. He fucked his car up, dude. The airbag went off, blood on the airbag. They got a picture of the pizza box on the floor.
What?
But moral of the story, right? This dude didn't have to go out and pick this pizza up. I'm almost positive if he was to call and be like, hey, Lions, can you pick up my pizza for me? They'd be like, yeah, cool. We got it. Like, we don't want you getting hurt while you're out. We got it. Don't worry about it.
Dashcam video. Detroit Lions wide receiver breaks arm in early morning car crash.
These pictures on the NFL website, I guess they're via Instagram. It's actually from Nate Burleson's Instagram. It got pictures of a pizza box on the seat of the car with pizza coming out of it and 2 pieces of pizza on the floorboards. It's so funny to me.
Don't cry, man. Don't cry.
This is a professional athlete making millions and millions of dollars, and he broke his arm and can't play because he's got pizza falling.
Oh, my God. I thought we were ending the gossip section when we left Darren McFadden, but the pizza...
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's another Gossip Girl segment featuring Van,
who's almost crying over pizza. It's so funny. Moving on, you did a bunch of research on our new offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, so I trusted that you would do all my research for me. What did Nathaniel Hackett do in Jacksonville that was so good that made us think, hey, we should hire this dude?
Honestly, after doing a little bit of research, I love to say that I was absolutely correct. In 2017, the Jaguars, led by Blake Bortles and Fournette...
Blake Bortles.
Basically, his impressive claim to fame after doing research is he got to the AFC title game with Blake Bortles. That's his claim to fame. Here's a quote. This is from Kevin Patra from amp.nfl.com. It goes, after the Jags playoff run last year, Hackett was hailed by some as a coordinator who could coach around Bortles' flaws and milk the most out of the quarterback.
You know that episode of SpongeBob when they're trying to get into the Salty Spittoon and they're like, welcome to Salty Spittoon, how tough are you? I made it to the AFC Championship game. Yeah, so? With Blake Bortles as my quarterback. Oh, come right in, sir.
Oh, man. So basically, all of his credentials, his biggest credentials come from that 2017 season. And when I first started reading this report, here's the sentence from the same article. Hackett becomes the first fall man for a continually inept Jacksonville offense. And I said to myself, oh, Lord, please don't let 2019-2020 season be worse than this. Nathaniel Hackett, though you have a great first name, I will curse you just the same. Do not be Dom Capers reincarnate. Do not be Ron Zook. Don't do it. Be good. Be like 2017. So basically, that's his real claim to fame. He was basically fired after the Jags had their 7th straight loss. He did not make it to the end of this season even. A couple good things that I would say, though, that I did learn. Some things that were highlighted on Packers.com. Of course, they want to make it look like a good selection. He was at one time a quarterback's coach, so he knows some of the ins and outs of that part of it. He knows what it is to be a quarterback in this league. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of scheming and things that he's done with specific attention paid to his quarterback's abilities. But he's also, because of his experience with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's somebody who's not afraid to call a running play.
I heard this year that you wished we would have run the ball a couple more times.
Oh my God, as much as I loved Mike McCarthy and all of his pretending to look at play sheets.
R.I.P. in pieces. R.I.P. pizzas.
As much as I did.
That's literally saying Mike McCarthy, rest in peace in pizzas. Mike McCarthy laying on a bed of pizza slices. He's not dead, but he's just laying on a bed of pizza slices.
Yeah, that's right. They finally delivered all of those pizzas he had ordered during those games. All of those pizzas finally came in. His day has come. I'm just saying it's about damn time. With the combination of Matt LaFleur and Nathaniel Hackett, I think we will genuinely run the football, and I couldn't be more excited. Look, if this guy could win with Blake Bortles and Leonard Fournette, who is, of course, Leonard Fournette, quite a beast, but Blake Bortles, again, I think he was at best an excellent badminton player, maybe the world's best badminton player, transitioned to football. I don't know. I'm excited for Nathaniel Hackett. I just wanted to clear the air and say, Van, you were right. This dude didn't even make it to the end of the season last year. 2018 was garbage. You were right. I was wrong. But
I'm sorry, what?
But I must say that I was not completely wrong, because he was, just as I said then, leading a team that had to put the backup to Blake Bortles in. Somebody worse than Blake Bortles. That's what he had to work with. And Leonard Fournette wasn't healthy either. So 7 straight losses. You could blame it on your offensive coordinator, or you could blame it on the people who drafted Blake Bortles. That's what I'm going to do. Nathaniel Hackett comes to Green Bay. He's got Aaron Rodgers. He's got the whole squad that he needs. We've got enough pieces in every side of the ball to do what we're going to do, and we're only going to pick up a few more pieces as the draft approaches.
It's a good analysis.
So, Nathaniel Hackett, welcome to Green Bay. Hope you brought a parka. Well, that has been our show. You have been listening to Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
Bye!